Why are you touching me?
Because we're together again.
Oh my gosh. You know, everybody's going to be like, yeah, we get it. You're together.
It's so much fun that we're recording in the studio together now.
I know. And we have had so much fun for all of our listeners. We're recording at PBS in Roanoke, Virginia. And we love our friends here because little did they know that we went and took photos with Big Bird and Cookie Monster.
I know. We sneak around the studio. They're never going to let us in early again.
I think some of the people, so here's the thing. For some of the folks who don't know what PBS, who are listening to us in other countries, it's our public broadcasting network. Mm-hmm. And so lots of educational good stuff. And so
it's where Sesame Street is from.
Sesame
Street is from PBS.
I know.
Okay.
So, we're done.
Moving on.
All right. Okay. But we're here today to talk about Heroes Caring for Heroes. Mm-hmm. And this is our special series that recognizes our active duty and veteran caregivers. Mm-hmm. And they are absolutely heroes too, because they're taking care of our heroes.
They are.
And I love them.
I know. And we are very fortunate, Natalie, because we have amazing sponsors for this series. Mm-hmm. We have CVS Health and we have Tenna, the #1 adult incontinence brand in the world. They are also sponsoring us, and we have Care Forward.
Yep.
So we are just, I'm ready to get started.
You know, I'm also grateful to Fisher House.
I can't even remember.
We have so many people this year, and we've just been really blessed to be able to bring this. But you know what we have? We have an amazing guest today.
And she's beautiful.
She is unbelievably pretty.
I mean, we don't tell the guys that when they come on.
No, we didn't. But, you know, we've had Quinn on. We've recorded. You can tell who we've recorded. We're like, oh, my gosh. So we don't like to play favorites, but we're like, oh, Quinn's beautiful. And then yesterday, Crystal was there, and she was beautiful. And now we have another beautiful person.
I know.
And I think what it is that not only do they have outward beauty, but the inward beauty.
It shines.
Oh, man. Shines right through. So let's talk.
Angelena's like, let's talk about it. I'm ready.
Let's talk about my beautiness. No,
I know.
Let's you know what? Let's talk about Angelena Taylor.
I am ready, Natalie.
Let's do it.
So today we have Angelena Taylor with us, and get ready, guys. She says she's a proud daughter. She is a cat mom. She is a world traveler, and she is the reigning Miss USA World Universal Ambassador, and she's a military caregiver. She works part-time as a behavioral analyst, but her most prominent and favorite role to date is caregiver to her father, Benjamin, who is a stroke survivor. She was 28 when she started, when this unexpected crisis happened with her dad. And she has heard a lot of things, which I really find, I don't know, maybe impressive / discouraging.
Yeah.
The discharging physical therapist for her dad told her that they weren't going to show her how to transfer her dad because she was too young and too little.
Dude, you can't give away all the stuff.
Well, I know, but I'm going to tell a little bit more. And the social worker that discharged him, they didn't really help her much. So she hadn't had a lot of help. So she's good.
Because I'm a social worker, and I'm like, dude, we're going to get on.
We're going to talk about it.
But here's the deal.
Here's the deal. They face all kinds of challenges over the years. But she says, here we are 10 years later, and they are thriving. She's going to tell us how.
You know what? She's got the secret sauce.
I didn't let too much out.
No, you didn't.
Get ready, secret sauce. You're going to tell us all about it, Angelena.
Angelena, I need like clappers. I need like clappers.
We're going to get applause. We're going to get background applause, Angelena.
I need like the applause button that just flashes so our not studio audience can yell.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
So I always like to say, start from the beginning because that's where we start from. So you were born, but give us some background about childhood and growing up, and you're gonna come up and work your way up to you get the call because everybody normally gets the call, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. We're still here now. I am the only child biologically before my dad, but I'm the youngest of 7 from my mom. So he was a step to 6 before I came along and surprised everybody.
Were you an oopsie? Because you were a puppy.
So my mom was 40 and my dad was 37, and I just turned 37. So
look at that girl. Look at that. Like your mom was a cougar too. She's like, I'm going to date a younger guy.
Yeah, it worked beautifully for them. They were, oh my gosh, they were together for decades before my mom passed away. So she passed away, unfortunately, to lung cancer when I was 17. So a few months shy of me graduating from high school. So after that, it was pretty much just me and my dad after that. So childhood was, typical childhood growing up here, mostly closer to my nieces and nephews because they were all closer in age with me. But I never imagined having older parents would lead to losing one so soon and then having to take care of one later on in life, at least so soon.
No, I think this is interesting. I know this is about our military series. We're going to get there. But you mentioned that your mom passed of lung cancer. And so did you take on, because we just finished a youth caregiving series. And so, and talked to youth of all ages about caring for their loved ones, whether it was a grandparent, a parent, a sibling. Did you provide care for your mom when your mom was sick?
I did. I didn't really give it a second thought then, but the older I got and then I started taking care of my dad, I'm like, man, I was doing this caregiving thing earlier on, but didn't really recognize it. A lot of it wasn't completely hands-on because I was so young, but there were days where I would help get her dressed and get her ready or help her brush her hair, make sure that she was eating because she didn't have an appetite a lot of times from the chemo that she was having. So in essence, I was a little young helper, little caregiver then.
Yeah. And that's totally normal. I think the things that you describe are things that I think this is why it's so hard for caregivers to self-identify, especially caregiving youth. Because they think, oh, well, yeah, I might help my mom if, brush her hair. I might help make sure she's eating some things. But you don't really take on that as a role because you're like the child. This is what I do. So you graduate from high school and you go to college. And
I did.
Now, before we go to college, your dad, before you were born, he served, correct?
He did, yes. He's a United States Marine Corps veteran.
Okay.
Hoorah. He is, oh my gosh, if you've ever met other Marines, he still embodies a lot of that, warrior spirit that they have. He, military all day. His career was in law enforcement too. So got a lot of that routine and structure from him.
Oh, okay. I think that's pretty magical. So how long was he in the Marines?
He did, I believe he did two active, 2 reserve. Trying to get that information after his stroke is I wish I would have paid more attention before he had his stroke because we would talk about a lot of things, but things come a lot blurry after having a stroke. So I believe it was 2 reserve, 2 active years.
So was it, 4 years in total is how long he was probably in the military and then transitioned over?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah, he was Vietnam era. He did not get deployed over to the service era. I know they make a distinction between Vietnam era and those that were actually deployed and served over in that area. His favorite stories are telling me from his deployment in Cuba. So I get to think about Cuba a lot.
Oh, I bet that was interesting.
Yeah.
So you're, because I wanted to kind of preface this. So your dad not only, I get a sense of his personality as your traditional military. Your dad was police. So he likes structure, I would say, and that sort of thing. Okay. So, because I would say that probably impacts, it impacted how you were raised, but it also impacts your relationship now.
Like how you care. And how you have to care. Is that, a little structure. Okay. I think we'll get to that.
But I'm sure he likes to care for in a certain structured way. So you graduate from high school, you go into college. And so let's keep going. Let's keep moving through until you get that call.
Yeah, so I graduated from high school. It's a very challenging senior year, of course. Went to college, and then my grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer as well.
Wow.
So his mother, he was caring for my mom until she passed, and then he transitioned into his caregiver role, taking care of my grandmother. She ended up she was in a nursing facility, but we go visit, make sure she was going to appointments and things like that. But he cared for her from a distance before she went to her facility before she passed. So I'm starting out undergrad, dealing with another, essential care crisis, making sure grandma's okay. And then she passed the beginning of my second semester in college. I was able to get through the rest of undergrad. I took a pause, wasn't really sure where I wanted to go with it. My bachelor's degree is in psychology. I started out in engineering, so I've kind of like been all over the place. I don't know if anybody knows that the general statistic is that the average student changes their major at least 7 times before they graduate. They change their majors a lot, apparently. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so endearing and so helpful to know, because I felt like I was a failure because I kept my major. But I settled with psychology. We were a big household, big on, behavior and psychology and stuff. I got that from him. He's his associate's in psychology. So it's like everything I've kind of gotten from him and learned and everything, comes from, the foundation he laid here. But my interest in psychology led me to want to pursue that. But trying to get into clinical psychology, there's a certain path that you have to take with it. So did some reassessment. I ended up learning about applied behavior analysis and what that treatment applies to kids on the autism spectrum. Because at the time I was working as a after-school mentor for kids, tutor for kids, and one of our kids had autism, and it was like, oh my goodness, how do we help them learn? How do we, make this so it works for him? Because they don't learn the same way that neurotypical kids do. And we wanted to make it, fitting the services and stuff we were offering for him. And learning from about ABA there is what led me to pursue my master's degree. So fast forward to me doing my master's program in 2015. I was ready to take on the world. The program was only supposed to be a year and a half. So I was, thinking, oh, this is going to go by quickly. And midterms hit October, and I was actually on my way from my job as a registered behavior technician. And typical day, me living here at home with Dad, he's like, as long as you're in school, whatnot, working, you can stay here. Don't
I
worry
love
about
that.
it.
I do too. I love that.
Free housing.
Free housing.
I wish that was the case for all people and their kids. A lot of people don't do that for their kids. They're like, 18, get out. My dad's like that. But he's like, you can stay here as long as you're working and in school and whatnot. And he was doing a lot, taking my aunt, his sister, they were really close, taking him to and from her appointments. And I remember seeing him earlier that morning, and it was, oh my gosh, it was early. I think she had a very early appointment, like 6 or something.
Was he retired at that time? I didn't mean.
Sorry. Yes, he was retired.
Okay. All right. I was like, okay. So, but he's okay. So he's retired. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I skipped over the whole part of him retiring. So his first retirement came when I was headed to high school, and he started his second career while I was in high school, which was fun because it was the public schools police department. So I got to see him at all the games and all sorts of stuff when schools were going on.
Your dad's lied to it. What's funny though is I'm like, good move, Dad, because you worked your way into your high school as honestly, it's a resource officer is what we call it here in Virginia. And they're the officer that's on site at the schools. And so he could keep an eye on any of the boys, I'm assuming, know who your friends are.
He knew
That's what I thought.
Administrators. He knew some of my classmates, actually, their parents worked with him. So he had tabs on like all the guys who like worked, the kids that worked with him and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. But yeah, he knew a lot. He worked with Detroit Police Department for over almost 30 years. He was with UPS for a good, I think, 10 years or so. And then he's like, I'm going to sit and retire. But he was still doing a lot, helping my aunt and whatnot. So that morning, he got up super early to take her to the doctor. He had complained of a really bad headache the night before. And I told him, you need to chill out, like enjoy your retirement. I know you like helping family and helping everything else, but you need to take care of you. You need to enjoy your retirement. And he's like, well, I'll go to the doctor. I'll do this. But, I still have to take her here. I have to do this, do that. So we kind of go back and forth because I'm a proponent for self-care and like, hey, you can't take care of everybody else if you're not taking care of you. But he got up that morning, left out before I got to work. And then I usually would get off about like 4:30. And I called him because I wanted to know what he wanted me to make for dinner. I'm like, hey, what would you like? He didn't tell me. He didn't answer the phone. And normally he answers the phone really quickly and whatnot. And I had to call him about 3 different times before I headed home. So my first stop, and it was almost like an intuitive thing or kind of like divine intervention. I stopped at the first store because I was going to pick up some stuff for my kiddos. I used to like buying like little toys and reinforcers and stuff for my kids. Stopped there, didn't really see anything. And I kind of like went in, didn't really see a lot. And I'm like, you know what? I don't feel like it. I have cramps today. I need to go get food for dinner. Sorry if I was seeing my, but I was like, I don't feel good. I know what.
I'm going to get chocolate.
I'm sorry. We got you, girl.
We got you.
Welcome to girlhood.
Oh, yeah. Nope. I need to go home and sit because I'm not feeling it. I need to just go home. So I went to Kroger, and then I called and he didn't answer. And I was like, I'm not about to do all this grocery shopping and he's not answering the phone because he's picky too. He's still a picky eater. So I was like, he's not answering the phone. I don't want to pick something up that he doesn't want and have to hear his mouth about it. So I decided to go home. I decided to go home and I was like, oh, we'll deal with it when I get home. I get there, get the mail. I'm sorting the mail. I come back to his room and he looks like he's sleeping. And so I'm like, oh, I'm not going to disturb him. Just set his mail down. And then I kind of I hear like a little rustling in the bed, like the blankets or whatever. And I'm like, oh, he's awake. Sorry. Didn't mean to wake you. I didn't even look at him at that point. I just like was turning around like, okay, go back to sleep. We'll talk about dinner when you get up. And he didn't say anything. And I could see his eyes opened up. So I'm, sitting there just chatting with them, not really taking in everything else that was going around. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't responsive to me. And I'm thinking, okay, he's messing with me because my dad's a big jokester too. That's one thing that, keeps us going, the jokes and the, little banter and stuff. Yeah. So I was thinking he was just messing around with me and I get closer and I'm like, hey, stop messing around. I don't feel good. I want to know what you want for dinner so I can get this out the way so I can go rest. And I went to touch him and normally, he's all, again, playful and, he'll kind of like push me away, poke at me or whatever. He didn't do that. Instead, he grabbed my hand and he squeezed my hand. And when I looked, a little bit better, because the lights were off in there, it looked a little bit better. You could see side of his face was a little bit droopy. He wasn't talking. Those classic signs of a stroke. That's right. We had just went over our first aid refresher at work. And I was like, fast, face, arm, face, arm, the slur. Well, he hadn't said anything yet, but, slur, and then it's like time to call. So I called 911. I'm like, I think my dad just had, he's had a stroke. I just got home. So they wanted me to move him from the bed to the floor. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. But I also can't do that because he's in a platform bed and he's probably like 200 plus pounds at that point. Yeah. So I was like, that's not going to happen.
Isn't that interesting that they told you to move your dad to the bed to the floor. And I thought all emergency personnel services are like, don't move the person. Like,
I thought that was very weird too. So I was kind of like, I'm not going to do that. He seems like he's okay where he's at and the bed's high. I'm not touching him. Just get here. So they got there and they were like, yeah, good call on the stroke. He, seems like he has all those symptoms. We're going to get him to the hospital. I asked them to take him to the hospital where he normally gets serviced, which, his doctors and everything were there. I hope at some point care gets to the point where there's like a EHR system where everything is cross-connected despite what hospital, whatever you have to go to. Because at that point, if you were going to different hospitals and stuff, they didn't communicate with each other. Yeah. So this doctor could put you on a completely different list of medications or you're doing different. So I was like, no, please take him to where his doctor is because I want them to, see what's happening here. And then if someone else has to take over, fine. But this is where he gets his care. The EMS workers were so helpful. I was so grateful for that. They did take him because the protocol is to go to the nearest. Yeah. Both are close, but the other one is probably maybe a second closer than the other one is. And they're like, we typically would have to take him there. But in our city, that hospital means death. And I'm like, he's not going to that hospital. Take him to where I asked you to take him to.
Mm-hmm. They took a second. I'm going to hold that pause because I got to take a break. Because we're going to come right back.
I know. I'm like in it. She's
like, wait a second. Hold on. She's in the story. Hold on. All right. We'll be right back.
Hey, ladies, I need to interrupt for just a second to share about the Sisterhood membership. It's basically a sale every day. And the best part, it's free. Here's the details. We're partnering with our friends at Benefit Hub and other care partners to save you money. With over 200,000 participating companies across the US and abroad, you'll find discounts at your favorite local stores, huge savings on vacations, amazing deals on home, auto, and supplemental insurances, and everything in between. Go to confessionsofareluctantcaregiver.com to sign up, and then definitely tell your friends about it. They can join too. Trust me, there's a discount for everyone. And don't forget, it's free. Okay, back to confessing.
Okay, everybody, we're back here with Angelena, and she has found her father, and he has had his stroke. EMS has come, and they have taken him to the hospital. That she has directed him to take him to other. Yes, smart move. Caregiver in action that says this is the path we are going. So tell us what happened.
Well, and I will say this is important to know, because I was going to take a breath and say, you're 28 years old and your dad is 65. So her dad is still a pup, and he's a young retired pup because he served a lot and did what he did. But the fact that you have care in your background to say, I'm going to advocate, you are advocating right from the get-go. So I wanted to just make sure we knew that, because you're a young caregiver at this point that's being thrust into the middle of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So from there, we got him to the hospital, and the doctors tell us that he did in fact suffer a hemorrhagic stroke. He had a brain bleed. So once they were seeing him in the back, had different family members, and my boyfriend at the time came up there, and they were telling us, well, it's great that she was able to catch this, because had she not come home any sooner or, anything else, he may not have made it. So that was the fact that, it was close enough that he was able to get there and get care made a huge difference, because a lot of times people either not know that they've had a stroke and don't have anybody around. And then, they either pass from it or suffer even worse, long-term effects after it.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to stabilize him. They contained, the brain bleed and whatnot. And he was in the hospital, it seemed like forever.
Yeah.
From there, I had arranged with my job to kind of like navigate my schedule. They had already made the poor decision to move me from full-time to part-time when I started school, which I didn't really need to. But for whatever reason, they decided to move me to part-time. So from there, felt like I was even less than part-time there, because they're like, oh, well, you can't really be on the schedule with this, that, and other. That led to an issue with FMLA that I'll get to in a little bit. But so I was working. I would, go to work in the mornings, go see him on my way to work and stuff like that, and just kind of keep that cycle going a bit. One of my older sisters would come in. My brother would come in. A lot of people would come visit him while I wasn't there. I took some days off when I could. My professors were very understanding, which I was worried about, because I'm like, do I drop out? Do I put school on pause? Like, what do I do?
Well, and that's what I was getting ready to say. You are working regardless of the amount of time. You live in a home and you're caring for your dad to some extent, and it's probably more than 40 hours a week. So that's a full-time job. You are going to school.
Right.
You're halfway through your master's. And, did you want to have a social life? Because I'm assuming you didn't want one of those either.
But she had a boyfriend. So
she did have a boyfriend.
Yeah,
so, I mean, I'm thinking like, you got a lot going on and you're 28 years old. And so I do want to pause for a second and ask, because you put in what JJ had mentioned was when your dad discharged home, and they didn't give you great instructions.
No,
I know you're a small person. You're not like big like me, like 5'10". And so that's interesting. So tell us a little bit about what happened there.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit of a Lilliputian. My mama was little. She was like 4'11". So I got in between height between the two of them. I'm 5'2".
Okay.
And then I was a little bit closer to 120. COVID, thank you for my extra fluff.
You know what? Fluffiness is beautiful. So we'll go with it, girl.
I love it. I'm embracing it. But yeah, I was probably a little bit under 120, closer to 120 then.
Yeah.
So everybody, and I apparently have a baby face, so everybody assumed I was under 28. They did not know that I was close to 30. They're just like, oh, sweetie, your kid, like, shouldn't she be in school? Or where's your
She does
mom?
look
Where's
12.
this person? And
Yeah.
my sister had to like go off on one of the nurses one day because she was like, you keep talking to her like she's child. She's a grown woman. Yeah, and it got real bad at one point. But yeah, the social worker discharged him while I was at work. She didn't call me. She didn't say, hey, he's up for discharge or he's doing better. Didn't tell me any of that. I get there to the rehab place that he was at. This was the second one because the first one I had to pull him out because they messed up big time. I could go back to that if you want me to. But so they were discharging him and the letter was like at the foot of his bed and he was like upset. And I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, as best as he could, because he still had a bit of an issue with his speech. He lost his speech initially, but was regaining it. But he's like, they're sending me home. I can't go home and stuff like that. And I'm like, you can, but they have to tell me, they have to tell me what's going on. We don't have a wheelchair ramp. We don't have like any of the things in place to get you in the house. And you tell me I have to take him home tomorrow. That made no sense to me. So I hunted down every single person that I could before the night was up because people were leaving for like, glorious 5 o'clock, 6 p.m., whatever time that they go home. So I was like, no, we need to figure this out because he can't come home tomorrow. As much as I would love that, we don't have a wheelchair ramp. We don't have any of the things I'm sure we would need at home. So they were able to, I think, get an additional, it may have been like a week. I can't remember, but I know I had to like really think on my feet to get like someone out there to get a wheelchair ramp. I think,
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the place. I was going to give them a little shout out, but they were really on it. It's like as soon as I called, they're like, we can come out tomorrow and install the ramp. You can do installment payments. You don't have to do
It was
upfront.
like an easy ramp place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really quick and very efficient. So I was grateful for that. So I was able to get that set up. The social worker went through all the things that she was ordering for us. And she's like, you'll probably need a Hoyer lift. You'll probably need wheelchair wheelchair. And then the hospital bed. So she went through the list of all the things they were ordering, different follow-up instructions for home OT, PT. So it was a lot that was being thrown at me. And the reasoning that his PT at the location gave for not showing me how to care for him and transfer was that, me being smaller, she's like, you're not going to be able to do this. And the assumption was you're going to have somebody hired to come in to take care of him. And I'm like, as glorious as that is, yes, I will want to have somebody come in and help. That's the idea. Yeah. But I still need to know if it's just me and him there, like they're going to live with us. So I would still need to know, if I have to get him in and out of his wheelchair, that, which they did not show. I didn't learn any of that until the in-home company that came to take, to provide his services came. His OT showed me what to do.
I think that's so interesting. Because I have a couple of things that I heard you say. One, I heard you say that the social worker from the hospital helped with ordering certain types of medical devices. So you'll need this, this, this. And so those are things that a physician has to order. So just for our listeners, so that you know that those are things a physician orders, so your health insurance pays for it. Did you ever have, because I'm assuming your dad has, does he have VA benefits or does he have other benefits as his health plan?
Yeah, other benefits. I didn't find out till later, like what he was able to qualify for or use for his VA benefits.
Yeah.
There was a good period where a lot of veterans weren't taking use of those benefits because it's such a tedious process for them to get anything, and so they either completely give up on it or feel like they're not going to get what they need. So he wasn't using it at the time. So I had to do, I think maybe a few months after he came home, we were able to finally get everything set up.
So, and I do want to ask, so I didn't know how much his health plan, if they reached out to you, because he's a stroke victim, and these are things that we're advocating for with the health plans, because these kind of folks are going to end up needing a lot of care, and they're typically given a care coordinator. Did anybody call you from there to say, hey, we can help you? Because if you were saying, because they're going to see they got an extra 7 days on the bill, and I'm assuming you did the ramp yourself. You found the people to do the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you pay for the ramp? I heard you say they offered installment payments.
Yeah, we did. And a lot of that I didn't know at the time. So it's like he's probably way past reimbursement time for that.
Yeah.
I think it was only like a couple of $1,000s, but over time it's like, okay, if we only pay like $100 a month or something like that, it's paid for now. But I don't think we were aware of that then. There was a lot that I didn't know, a lot of questions I didn't know to ask. I had other cousins and friends that were veterans or worked at the VA that were kind of guiding me, like, you need to, call or find his card and ask these questions. But because he doesn't have a service connection, also, there's a lot that he doesn't have a service connected disability. There's a lot that he didn't qualify for then, and he doesn't qualify for now.
So I'm going to back up just a second, because at the time that they picked him up and he's put into the hospital, do you have any type of power of attorney in place, medical power of attorney? What does decision making look like? Because were you prepared?
It's no wonder they didn't call her, because, are you the person who's his decision maker? And do you see what I mean?
Yeah, and none of that, I knew nothing about that at the time. I think they asked those questions while we were there. So it was a lot where they really didn't make it difficult as far as decision making, because he had to get a PEG tube at one point because he couldn't swallow and talk and stuff. And that was a difficult decision because I didn't know what a PEG tube, surgery looked like. It's,
right.
Very small incision and then inserting that tube and stuff so he can take in liquids and whatnot.
Yeah.
But talking to other family members, my aunt, rest her soul, she passed last year. She was not a fan of surgery. She wasn't a fan of getting cut open. We argued tooth and nail about whether or not my dad would get this PEG surgery. Yeah. And it was kind of like, well, I'm his daughter. So, and the doctors are saying this is essential. This is what he needs for survival. We should probably get it. And my aunt was just like, that's my brother. He's not doing it. We're not unnecessarily cutting open. I'm like, okay, So they basically made the call that, like, you're his daughter, you're his next of kin.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's it. And that's the way it works. Yeah. I mean, it truly is. Yeah. You know what, Jay, we got to take a break.
Gosh, yeah.
So we got to take a break, and we'll be right back.
And then we're going to talk about
some
Angelena.
Let's talk about Angelena.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but my inbox is always cluttered with useless emails. But there's one I always open, the Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver newsletter. You may say, Natalie, what makes yours so special? Well, I'm biased, but don't just take my word for it. Here's what our subscribers say they love. First, it comes once per month, and you can read it in under 5 minutes. Next, you'll find amazing tips and resources to use in your everyday life. And who doesn't love a recommendation? These sisters do, which is why we share sister-approved products and discount links to save you time and money. And of course, you're first to know about the upcoming month's confessions. Just like our show, you're guaranteed to relate, be inspired, leave with helpful tips and resources, and of course, laugh. Go to our website, confessionsofareluctantcaregiver.com, to sign up for our newsletter today.
Okay, everybody, we are back here with Angelena, and we've talked a lot about the situation and the scenario with her dad. Now we're going to talk about Angelena.
Let's talk about Angelena.
So,
I mean, she already said a little family dynamics.
There is
who does not like disagreement?
I know about healthcare. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have prepared yourself for, you've gone to school, you've done all this. I want you to tell us what is going on in your mind at that. What is your state of mind about what your future is going to be?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There were a lot of thoughts at the time. There's still thoughts now, but I think at the core of everything, it was what's going to happen to Dad. Like, where are we going to be with this? Like, what does this look like for him? Like, is he ever going to walk again? Is he ever, going to regain speech? And I kind of thought because he was going to be getting all these services and stuff, it would be a breeze. He was going to get better. He had suffered some mysterious illness prior to maybe like a year or two before where he wasn't walking before. And I think it took him maybe like a month or so. He may have had a minor stroke that they didn't detect, and it it went by really quickly. He regained his walking. So we thought it'd be like that again, where, okay, you're going to do physical therapy at home. You're going to be walking again. But the reality started to kick in. It's like, I'm taking care of him, but for how long? Because we only kind of assumed it'd be temporary. So the questions became, how long will this look like this? Will I be able to get someone to come in to, help me or transition over long term? He didn't want to be in a facility, and I didn't want to put him in a facility. Worked his butt off to, retire twice, be able to own his own home paid off. He deserved to be here. So, what does that look like? Aging in place. What does my future look like? Like you said, I was only 28. So, in trying to date, and that crashed and burned because he wasn't ready for that, to be thrown into that middle of all that. So it's like, will I ever date again? Will I be in a relationship again? Will I get married? Will I have kids? So all these different things are just like up in the air at that point.
Yeah. And so fast forward. So you've been doing this for a number of years. And I think
you're almost 10 years in.
Right at almost 10 years in. Okay. And she still looks 18. So I'm telling you. So in those 10 years, I'm assuming you still live with your dad, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so what have the 10 years been like? How have you, because one of the hardest things, we just literally talked about this, one of the hardest things is to take on that caregiver role and then also still be a daughter. And how do you keep the balance there? Because your dad probably you mentioned that he likes his food a certain way. He likes certain things a certain way. And I know you guys have gotten used to each other, but tell us about how you've not only survived, but thrived over these 10 years. What are lessons that you, the 10 years smarter caregiver, would have wished you would have known at 28? Even 20, 30, 31. You know what I mean? Even those first 32, 33.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, I would probably tell my younger self to calm down. It definitely gives you a heightened sense of anxiety as a caregiver because, from the moment you get in that crisis call or you walk into something you didn't expect, you're kind of in panic mode. Everything is an urgent need where, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I feel like I got a speeding ticket one time because I thought I had to be at home on the dot to give him his medicine. And the officer was like, okay, you're not going to be able to help him if you crash or something. So pull it, just calm down. So that sense of urgency, everything doesn't have to be on the dot where, if he doesn't take his medication at a certain time, he's not going to miraculously die. It's it's fine.
It's just good enough. It's good enough.
Take it. Yeah. I know some things are kind of with different people in situation. It's oh no, you need to take this at a certain time, but you have a window. So that's not, everything's not urgent. Don't try to do everything on your own. It's an unfortunate situation that caregivers are in where even if you have, extended family members or you have what typically would be a close network, you're not always going to get the support that you think that you should be getting. A lot of people don't know how to handle it when it's not them. Yep. So they'll say, hey, I'm here if you need anything, or, they'll make all these grand suggestions or whatnot. But at the end of the day, there's no action behind it. A lot of people say things because it sounds nice. So I wouldn't, as a young caregiver, don't expect to take people at face value for what they say. Look at what they're doing. My aunt, even though she gave me so much hell in the hospital when he was, getting that peg tube, she did a lot. Even though she was dealing with their own illnesses, she cooked. She would say, hey, come pick this up, or, your cousin's going to come drop this off for you guys. So that involvement, regardless of what's going on, I get other family members that are I got XYZ going on. That's fair. Yeah, everyone has a life and you have stuff going on, but at the end of the day, if you want to help out the care person in your life, you'll still make it happen one way or the other. So just realize who in your network you can rely on. Don't be ashamed if you need to ask them for stuff. I don't really ask people for a lot because of those no's that I've gotten earlier on, or those kind of they drop out of your life type of thing. But I would definitely encourage the younger caregiver of me to say like, hey, I need XYZ. If you can help, great. If you can't, that's fine too.
You know, I guess another thing, you've been a little busy in the last 10 years. You didn't stop living.
Just a little.
She didn't stop living. And this is, I think, the big win of this. And the direction, do you think your life would have gone this direction had you not been caring for your dad? Like, you would have been in part of your dad's life. I don't have any questions about that. He wouldn't have allowed you not to. But, I mean, considering that he made his way to your high school as a resource officer, magical. But what have you done for yourself to keep yourself, to keep Angelena, like, and not lose Angelena to being, I'm, you know, your dad's caregiver. I'm the daughter. You know what I mean? You lose your own name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were a traveling family before he had his stroke. We regularly did our family reunions at some grand destination, like we've done stateside, but we started doing family cruises too. So it was
Angelena needs to do the self-care cruise.
I know.
It was already instilled in me to travel, and that was what I've always wanted to do growing up. Like, I've always been obsessed with, like, you know, greater, you know, further out lands and seeing like all the exotic places. So I'd always had like places like Egypt, Greece, Bali. I've made all of those happen in the last few years. I've been a big proponent of like that self-care aspect, which it was hard really not knowing how to do that, you know, transitioning from my mom passing, dealing with my grandmother, all that, and then my dad. But one thing that I've always, you know, I've been learning and figuring out, like, I can't take care of him if I'm not happy and I'm not taking care of myself. I have dealt with depression over the years, just from, you know, losing mom, losing siblings, all that type of stuff. But for me, I need that respite. So with him having the benefits that he does have as a veteran, he gets 30 days of respite care every year. So I take advantage of that whenever I can.
Guilt-free, I'm assuming, girl. Guilt-free.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He used to make me feel bad about it because he always wants to be at home. And he doesn't, it's never the facility. It's always just that he doesn't know people. And he's like, I would rather be at home. He's gotten used to it. We had a place that we were going to consistently to where like, oh, Mr. Taylor's back. And he, you know, is enjoying talking to a lot of the care persons and stuff there. So, he's made me feel less guilty about it over the years. He gets a vacation away from me.
It's a vacation for him.
Yeah, he showed me out the door, like, get out of here. I'll talk to you later. Or he'll call me and ask me how my trip and stuff's going. So it's gotten a lot better.
I do too.
It's finding the balance. And you did that sort of this little
it was a pageant
thing. Yeah. Then a pageant thing is a huge thing.
It's not just a thing.
And I think it's really like, you talk about what it's done for you, not even what you're doing for them, because you've got, you created Crown the Caregiver as a platform of awareness and advocacy. I mean, you're bringing things that especially women are going to, like, we're caregivers, that the society looks to us to be caregivers.
Yeah.
So talk about how you've worked that into your life, because I don't know that were you pageant girl when you were little?
No. I used to watch it, and I, you know, thought that was the most glorious thing ever to see these women with all these accomplishments, you know, living out their dreams and then essentially becoming the queen of the world.
Yeah, of course.
Like, oh, that's great. I love the sparkle, but I never thought that I would be able to do something like that just because of how, you know, over the years, there's been a typical standard of beauty and stuff like that. I never just felt like I fit into that model. So it's like, I don't think I'd be good at that. I don't think that's something I want to try to put myself in front of. But pageantry's evolved to be more diverse and more inclusive in doing things to make sure that all women have a platform to share their passions and stuff. So I ended up getting into pageantry kind of default because in the midst of taking care of my dad and all that, I had started looking into going back to school. My place that I was working at first, I had got let go. FMLA let me off. They let me go as soon as my FMLA was over. So trying to keep consistent work, finding work, I ended up taking a break after a certain point of, you know, going back into the field and whatnot. And I'm like, you know, doctorate, why not? My dad's always like, go for it. You know, you don't have to stop at your master's. I had to pay for that doctorate some type of way. If it wasn't working, I had to figure that out. I looked for scholarships in Google search, like unique scholarship opportunities, and Miss America popped up. But I was over the age for Miss America. So
You sure look under the age. I can tell you that right now. Keep going.
Well, I wish they took that into account because that would have worked in my favor.
Yes, it would have, young lady.
Yeah, but I think their cutoff back then might have been like 24 or 25 or something. So I missed the cutoff point. I already started creeping into my 30s. So I was like, okay, I wonder if they have this for women that are in their 30s. And bam, a whole list of Ms. pageants started popping up. And they're like, you single?
Not too late for us.
Got kids, not have any kids. You qualify for the Ms. categories in these pageants and stuff. So I started from there. My first one was the Miss Black USA scholarship program. And they, you know, it was a very unique experience for me for my first pageant. I met lifelong sisters there, but I didn't stop there because I like getting dressed up and making friends across the world and stuff like that. So I did. From there, I did the Ms. Captivating pageant for 2 years. I did International Ms. And then the last 2 years, I did Miss USA World Universal, where last year I was crowned Miss USA Ambassador. And then this summer, we competed internationally. It's considered a prelim for the internationals. And I ended up getting first runner-up.
Yay!
I
She has a crown, too. Go ahead and put your crown on.
Go ahead, do it.
Please put your crown on.
Please put your crown on. That's how we want it. Yeah, we're ready.
Because honestly, I have a tiara from I bought a tiara, Jay, for the PBS Downton Abbey thing when they did a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And I bought my tiara just for that.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, put the crown on.
Oh my gosh.
Put it on. Oh my God, it's big.
Oh,
okay, everyone go to YouTube. Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. It is teal.
Okay, you got to down just a little
Oh my
bit.
God.
Ours is very unique. Whenever they see the teal, they're like, what system is this from?
Oh, that's
wow.
And it's like sashes match too. We have the blue and teal in our sashes.
I'm
not gonna lie to you.
Congratulations. That is
That's
so
beautiful.
magical. Okay, so I just need you to know. Okay, so we're at the end of our time. We're going to just keep it. We'll end it with you.
Yeah.
So I keep the crown on for the rest of it because I really like it.
I would wear it every day.
So, honestly, it sounds to me, I know that you've got Crown the Caregiver as a platform and that you're getting ready to launch services as a certified caregiving specialist. Like you're going whole hog into it. Did you finish your doctorate? That's my question. Were you able to do that?
I did not. So I looked for scholarships, wasn't able to attain what I wanted to, but that didn't stop me. I did start a pre-doctoral program at Fielding, which was perfect because it's fully remote. It's one of the few remote clinical psychology programs that they offer. It's really hybrid, but after you get into the program, you have to do like a weekend visit once a month or once every so many months for your cohort. I was so stressed. I could not. Caregiving is already stressful. Trying to keep up with the demands of research projects. And I didn't want to take the research route, but that's what they offer at that program. And I was just like, oh no, I survived most of a semester last year. I made it to the tail end. And right at, I think those last couple of weeks, my aunt passed away in the middle of that semester. I was kind of able to navigate through that, but all that grief and everything hitting, and this was on the heels of my older sister passing away. My oldest sister passed away the week after Thanksgiving, 2022. So started school that following summer. Aunt passed, lots of other family members and loved ones passed away, and I was like, okay, try to get through this. Dad ended up back in the hospital in August, and that was when we were wrapping up the semester. I was able to take a pause, which I was grateful for, but then when I jumped back into it earlier this year, I was like, are you kidding me? No. I can't.
You know what? Exactly. You make that decision, though, and I love that. You're like, nope, I don't want to do this anymore.
And it's the right decision for you. And if you never go back, the reality is there's so many other things you've got in front of you. I mean, because you're also Elizabeth Dole Fellow. And so I think, we'll have to get more into that in our PBS special.
I know.
So, but I will say this, I do have a couple of sister questions. Let's do sister questions really quick.
Okay.
Because there's so much more I'd want to. We may bring Angelena back as a second time. We'll just bring it back as a second time guest. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here it is. What are you afraid of for your future? Do you have a fear that's hanging out there?
Oh, a fear.
Keeps
you up at night.
That keeps me up at night. I don't think. Oh my gosh. I kind of have a couple. Probably, the fear of what those final caregiving days are going to look like. That's a very loaded question. That, and probably, what is life really going to look like now? Like I said, I just turned 37. So it's like, I could easily be caregiving for another 10 years. So where do I fit?
It's okay.
Where do I fit my own family?
I think there's I will tell you that even today, my husband's a cancer survivor, and we still experience grief for the life that we thought we were going to have. And it's totally normal to think about, like, this is the life I could have had. And I think about us being able to ride motorcycles and play volleyball and do all the things that would travel and do the things. And then come into the reality of, this is what my new normal is. And it's different. It's not what I expected. It's what God's given us. But I see you. I see you saying, what would my life, my 30s be? Your 30s has been not what you expected.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot more on your path.
Oh, she's got big things.
I'm just, for what you're doing now, especially with where the U.S. and the world is in caregiving, your voice, and it actually I have chills on my arms. And I actually am a little teary because I hear your heart. And I'm 51, and I know when I started caring for my mom. But what you do for people that hear your story and you sharing your fears, there's so many people that won't share that fear. And for them to know, hey, that's okay. But I'm like, you are amazing, and you are
unbelievable. Beautiful.
I mean, I'm like, you just have a heart of gold. Yeah. Like, I just am just amazed. Well, so, and she's young.
and she looks 18. I swear to God. 18. So I'm going to tell you. So here's my last question. What is your favorite guilty pleasure? The one thing that you do just for you? Because I'd be walking around that crown the whole time by myself. I'd watch Hallmark in my crown.
I would do the dishes in my crown.
I would do everything in that crown.
And does travel count?
Yes, girl. Yes,
because that's like, I have to travel. Like, no matter what, I get sad if I don't have anything planned for the year. Like, no matter what it is, if I can't just like go, I'll probably stay up all night trying to plan out any and every trip that I can. Now it looks a little bit different because it's usually pageant related, but now that I'm gonna be an alumni queen, I get to make my other travel itinerary again.
Got a next dream trip. What's your next dream location?
Go?
What's the location?
I have a trip to Ghana coming up for New Year's, so I'm excited for that.
Holy smoke, we're not missing a read.
I'm definitely going to follow her on Facebook because I'm going to wait. She might be too young for Facebook. I'm so old.
Can we follow you on TikTok or something like that?
Yeah,
okay, we'll find something cool.
We're going to follow you because I need to see all these vacay pictures.
We're going to stalk you.
And we do think you are officially invited, so is every listener that we have on here, to our Self-Care at Sea cruise next October 19th.
Yeah.
So that's with our partners NCL, and we're going to the Caribbean on a brand new ship. And I'm going to tell you, Angelena, you need to put that on your list.
It's a work trip.
We're going to call that a work
trip, Angelena. It's a work trip.
Right.
We're gonna work so hard with our partners.
Caregivers, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be stupid fun. Okay, so travel, Ghana, I love it.
I do too.
You know what, Angelena, thank you so much for being with us. You are officially another sister.
We have so many now.
We adopt so many people, and you have no free will. Like, you are automatically
Sorry.
a sister, even if you didn't want to be. You're like, well, okay. But guys, thank you so much for listening to our special series, Heroes Caring for Heroes.
And we just again want to thank CVS Health. We want to thank Tenna. We want to thank Summit Behavioral Health. We want to thank Care Forward, the Fisher House.
Yep.
We have a huge list of partners, and those can be found on our website.
Confessions of a Reluctant
Yes.
Caregiver.com. Now we're saying all the things we're supposed to.
I know. But just thank everyone for making this series happen.
Yeah, because I think it's your story is so important, Angelena, and people will see themselves in you. And that relate is so important. It's how we feel connected as humans because we see you.
And today I'm seeing myself in you with the crown on.
Oh, yes. I am totally, I'm totally doing that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks again to Angela. And until next time, we will, until we confess again, we will see you next time. Apparently I'm struggling today. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.